Welcome to my SQL webinar series from JPassion.com. Today's topic is user management and access control, topic number 9. So let's start with the presentation. So we are going to take a look how we can create users and then how we can grant and revoke access rights to those users. So let's talk about creating users. So MySQL account is defined in terms of username and the client host from which the user can connect to the server. So if you see Sang Shin at localhost here, Sang Shin represent a username and localhost is where the client is coming from. And of course, each account should have a password. And of course, this username and passwords are MySQL specific, which means they are different from operating system username and password, of course. And each user has a set of associated privileges, and those privileges are sometimes called access rights. So this is how you can create a brand new user or dropping a existing user. So you say create user and name of the user at whatever host name. In this case, we are going to work on mostly on localhost. So name of the host, the user is coming from is localhost. Identified by, you specify password. So here I'm assigning my password as a password for dummy user. And then you can drop the user by using drop user and again, name of the user. Granting and revoking access rights. So you say grant select. So you are basically allow Sang Shin localhost identified by this password to perform select operation on this table. So this is the name of the database and person is the name of the table. And here, if you want to grant, insert, and update privileges to Sang Shin here, then you say grant, insert, and update. And you can see what privileges a particular user has by saying show grants for and name of the user. And then you can see grants for this user include select, insert, and update on this database and the table. And this is the way you can revoke access rights. So you say revoke, insert, and update on this database and table for this user, which means Sang Shin no longer has insert and update privileges. All right, so that is the end of the presentation. Let's move on to the hands-on lab and try the exercises. All right. So we are going to start with root user as we have done in the past, and we are going to create a test table called the person. So I have already done it. So the table contains 5 users. Person table. Okay. All right. Now let's take a look at system databases. So if you say show databases, then you are going to see in fact MySQL database. This MySQL database contains system level tables which include privileges and user table. So let's try that. So show databases. Okay, and here MySQL, that is the database that maintains system level the tables. So we are going to change the default database we want to work with to MySQL. So use MySQL. So now we changed our default database to MySQL. And then let's take a look at the tables of this database. And as you can see, it contains a lot of system level tables. And one of the table is user, and that is the one that maintains user information. So if you want to take a look at the structure of the user, so let's say description, describe user table. and you can see it contains a lot of information about the user's privileges. Okay, and here you can say you want to display host, user, insert privilege, update privilege, and event privilege. So you're going to just display a few columns of this table. So let's do that. Okay, so these are the hosts and these are the users. All right, so let's see how we can add a new user and drop a new user. So here you can say select current user. And right now the current user is root. And then you can also say select user and also has just root. The difference between these two is that the current user has to be authenticated, and the user is basically just a username and hostname provided by the client. So in this case, since root is already authenticated, you see the same information. So let's try to create a user. So if you want to see the help information on create user, you say help create user. And let's see how we can create a brand new user. So here I'm creating brand new user called Sang Shin and localhost identified by my password. So I'm going to just copy this and I'll type this one identified by, and my new password for this user is my password. Okay, so we have created a brand new user, Sang Shin, and password is my password. So let's take a look at the, okay, so now we are going to see, again, the databases, and one of the database is performance information schema. Okay, so let's see this database and its tables. So use information schema. And then let's take a look at the tables of this information, the schema database. And you can see it contains user privileges. So here you can tell which user has what privileges. So here we can perform a query operation. So we'd like to see all information about this user privileges table of this particular database. Okay, so we are going to say select star and from information schema database and user privileges table. And here you can see all the users, and the user I have added, you can see Sang Shin is right here. Okay. All right, now let's drop a user. Let's actually practice dropping a user. So we're gonna again create the brand new user called the dummy user. Ah, okay. So we're gonna create the dummy user. So dummy user has been created. So if we take a look at the information schema table of user privileges database, then we should be able to see dummy user has been added. Now let's drop the dummy user. So we are going to say drop user and that name of the user. Okay. Now if you take a look at the table again, then we don't see dummy user anymore. So we just created a brand new user, dummy user, and then drop the user. All right, so let's move on to exercise 3, which is granting and revoking privileges. So you can take a look at the grant command help here by saying help grant. Now, here we are going to see all the privileges of Sang Shin. So let's see, show grants for the name of the user. For now, Sang Shin doesn't have that much the privileges. So we are going to give select privilege to Sang Shin, and the Sang Shin should be able to now access person table of my DB database. So we are going to grant select, and then to Sang Shin, and his password is my password. Okay, so select has been granted. So if you take a look at what grants, what privilege Sang Shin has, then you can see grant select is now available for Sang. Now we are going to grant insert and update privileges. Again, same table of same database to Sang Shin. So here we are going to grant and to. Okay. Now if you take a look at the privileges of Sang Shin again, then we now see insert and select, insert and update privileges are given to Sang Shin. Okay. All right. Now we are going to start a brand new client. Okay, so we are going to actually, so right now the MySQL client, this is root. And now I'm going to start another client. This time I'm going to log in as Sang Shin because that's the user that we have already created. Okay, so I say MySQL and user is Sang Shin and -p and password is my password. Oops, my password. My ORD. Okay. All right, so it let me in. And again, if I want to see who is the client, then I can say select user. And if I say select current user, I should actually see the same person. And again, let's take a look at the what has been granted here. Okay, so these are the privileges or access rights that was given here, right? So you can see Sang has select, insert, and update privileges. So now Sang should be able to do select, insert, and update on that table, MyDB and person table. So Sang doesn't have any access to other table and other databases. He has select, grant, and update privileges only to this database, MyDB database and person table. Okay. All right. So again, if you take a look at the show databases, we should actually see MyDB. Okay. So we are going to change default database for Sang Shin, MyDB. Okay. So database has been changed. And again, if you take a look at the person table, we should see 5 people. Okay, all right. Now let's try to perform a certain operations here. So yeah, again, you can see I can perform select, right? Okay, because select is allowed. Now we're going to actually perform insert. So we are going to insert another person to this person table. So I'm going to just type it, insert into person and values, and the data we want to add is 11. Yeah, I'm going to just copy. Okay, so this is a new person. So if you take a look at the person table, now we were able to, Sang Shin was able to add this new person to the person table. And let's try to update. Update is also allowed. So here we are going to update anybody whose age is at this point 34. So we have a Paul Kennedy and John Hopkins. Their ages are 34. We want to change this age to 66. Okay. So again, Sang Shin is allowed to update this person table. So we should be able to perform this. And where age 34. Okay, so where age equals 34 semicolon. Okay, so now if I take a look at the table, the Paul and John, their ages have been changed to 66. All right, so we were able to perform select, update, and insert on this person table of my DB database. Now let's try to delete, and delete is not allowed for Sang Shin. So let's see what happens. If I try to delete anybody whose age is 22, then again, delete command is denied for user Sang Shin because Sang Shin doesn't have this delete privilege. Same thing with dropping the table. So if Sang Shin is trying to drop table, again, this is denied. And alter is also denied. And rename is also denied. Okay, so, all right. Now, we were able to perform select, update, and insert. Now we are going to revoke some privileges from Sang Shin. So this time we are going to revoke update and insert from Sang Shin. So we are going to go this root user here, revoke. I mean, if you try to revoke here, so you are going to actually have this the denied error message. So make sure you are performing this one to the root user. So copy, oops. So I'm going to revoke sanctions, insert and update on this table. And from this user. Okay, so now sanction doesn't have insert and update privileges. So we're going to actually go to this, sanctions client. Now let's try to insert, and what happens? So insert into person, and the values, and the value we like to try to enter, to insert, is Mayflower. And you can see is denied because insert has been revoked. And same thing with the update. Update should not be allowed. And where age 22. And you can see it's denied. But the sanction still should be able to perform select because that has not been revoked. All right, so that worked. Okay, moving forward, the next exercise is changing password. So far, for root user, we were using null password. And for sanction, the password is my password. So let's try to change password for a user. So here again, we are in root user. And let's try to use MySQL. That is our system database. And one way you can change password is the update the password field in this table. So here we are changing update table, and we are setting password value to do this new password, and where user is sanctioned. So we are basically using user table or MySQL database to change the password. Okay, so let's try this. Okay, so we are dealing with just changing the user table's password field. Okay, so that has been changed. So I'm going to actually quit this Sang Shin client. So I'm going to just quit. Now let's try to log in. So if I try to log in with old password, which is my password, that should not work because, oops, yeah, we changed my new password. We are Sang Shin. I'm not sure why it's allowed me to. So I'm going to try Oh, I have to flush privileges. That's the reason. Okay. So until you flush your privileges, meaning the change table in memory to the database, it's not going to take effect. So I forgot this. So you have to flush privileges. So it's updated the change. It made a change to the table, but I have to flush the privileges. Oops. So flush. I'm gonna just copy this one. All right, so now the sanctions password has been really changed to my new password. So let's actually try to use the old password, which is my password, and that shouldn't work. It says access denied. So I'm gonna actually choose a new password. So here, I'm gonna choose my new password. Okay, looks like I still have to type in my new. Okay, so let's actually, maybe I mistype it. My new password. All right, so that worked. Okay, so now Sang Shin has a new password, and that is my new password. Okay. Oh, I shouldn't have the space. That's the reason it didn't work. Yeah, so you should not have a space right here. Okay, so you can try here, and that should work. All right. The setting a new root password for the first time. So you can use MySQL admin u root password my password. So in this case, so for now root, I was using the null password for the root user. So I'm going to change the root password using MySQL admin commands. So here. Okay, so my password has been changed to my password. That's root password. Okay. So we're gonna actually try the new password. So MySQL minus u root and minus p, and this is now my password. All right, that worked. Right, and here let's try to use MySQL. So we're actually trying this. Use MySQL database. Okay. And here, this is the way that you can reset root user's password to my new password. So for now, root user's password is my password, and I want to change it. So this is the same command that we have used before. This time, the user is root rather than Sang Shin. So I'm actually changing the password of the root to my new password from my password. Okay, so it has been changed. Again, I have to flush it. Okay, and then I can just quit, and then I should be able to use my new password. Okay, so it's using my new password, and then it worked. Okay, all right. So you can quit. Now we are going to so start MySQL command to using existing password, my new password. I'm already there. So again, I'm going to use MySQL, which I am using it. Use MySQL already. And then, okay, so this is the way that I'm going to actually, change it back to null password. Okay, so this is the same command, but this time null password. Okay, so that is the new password, which is null password. So updating. Okay, so now I should be able to, again, flush privileges. And let me just quit, and then let's try to I mean, this one should not work because the user's root password is now the null. So I'm gonna try without providing this password and enter, and then it worked. Okay, all right, so that is pretty much what I have in mind. So let me just